Good afternoon, Year 8 students. Now, today we are going to explore the exciting world of rocks. Now, this is one of my favourite topics, and I have a 4-year-old boy who is absolutely obsessed. So this is my subject. Now, this is our first lesson, so we've got nothing to recap. So let's start thinking. Can rocks float on water?
No.
Oh, no.
No? No? What about you, Angela?
Oh, this is a trick question.
Some
Yes,
rocks
hold on.
float.
Let's see. Let's do an experiment and find out. Now, here is my bowl of water.
Oh.
And I went digging around the house and I found a few bits and pieces. And let's see how we go.
Oh.
Found this in the bathroom.
Oh, okay. Is that a rock?
Bit of sandstone from the garden.
Hmm.
I'm sure we all know what this
Oh,
is.
sure.
In the classroom.
Is that a rock, miss?
Let's find
Sure.
out.
Ah.
From my retaining wall. From my front garden. And now this one is a very special one that I also found. Sitting among all my gemstones. So let's see. Which one shall we do first? Let's do my black one. Looks like a bit of glass, doesn't it?
Oh.
Straight to the bottom.
Yeah.
Alright. Sandstone. So far, all of our baby rocks have sunk. What about this bit of chalk? Let's see.
Oh.
Oh, this one's floating.
But is that a rock? Oh.
And now it's sunk.
Oh.
Is chalk a rock?
It is. It's
Oh.
actually a rock. Has anyone been to Dover before in England? The White Cliffs of Dover. That's actually made out of chalk.
Oh.
That whole cliff face is made out of chalk. It's actually a type of limestone.
Oh, no, that was obvious. It was that's gonna sink.
That's
gonna sink.
Yeah. All right. Last but not least, you would
What's-
have seen this in the bathroom. A bit of pumice stone. This one floats. Now, can anybody think of why this one floats and the other sink? Shall we have a look at what it looks
Got
like?
little gaps. Got lots of holes and
Lots
gaps.
of holes in it. Let's see. Can you see that? See the holes in there?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh.
So when this is actually formed, it actually gets a whole lot of air bubbles in it, in the way it's formed. And this is why, because of all those gaps, because of all the air in there, it floats. And it is actually a rock. So even though we find it in our mum's bathrooms and we use it on our feet and get rid of all the dead skin, it's actually a rock. So I think the answer to that question is yes. All right, let's think about how do we think rocks are formed? Okay, we've got the 3 names: igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary. Now, in our group, we're going to have to do it in a group of 3 today, based on the number of students we have. Let's think about these names. They actually give us a bit of a clue as to how they're formed. Ignite, igneous, metamorphic, metamorphosis, sedimentary. All right, you've got 5 minutes. Let's have a think about it.
What do you want, miss?
Thinking about how these different types of rocks could be formed
How
by
they
just
form.
how the names. Just think
Okay.
about the names.
You need to write anything?
Now we're discussing in our groups.
Okay. All right.
Let's see.
So,
what we can.
so we've got a
So-
hint. So we've got a hint about the ig.
So think of-
something to do with fire. Volcanoes.
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 Good idea. So,
Volcanoes.
what happens with volcanoes? What is that like?
It's hot.
Hot.
And then
Great
it
word.
comes out and it cools.
Exactly. That's what happens with the magma. So that's igneous rocks, volcanoes.
Oh.
So is magma a rock?
It's molten rock.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. So great. Igneous. Let's move on. Metamorphic. What other words sort of sound like metamorphic? What do you think that changes? Think about Peter Parker before he turns into Spider-Man. What does he do? He morphs.
Yeah.
Changes. Exactly. So if I've got something and then it changes into something else.
Isn't that diamonds like
Like
that?
a
Aren't
coal,
they? Carbon
yeah.
to diamond.
Well, diamond's a mineral, but yes.
Oh, okay.
Same idea, coming from coal.
From coal.
Yeah.
So, if we think about that name, metamorphic, this rock, we've got something's happened to this rock, and it's changed into a different rock. So so this different rock is the metamorphic rock.
Oh,
Okay?
Okay.
Last one, sedimentary. If we are being sedimentary, what are we doing?
Settling, laying.
Right.
Exactly. We're just sitting still, aren't we?
Okay.
So how do you think that's formed then?
From
It's just sitting there.
sitting there. Ah.
Exactly. Good job, guys. You guys are on the ball today. I love it. Now, I've brought some beautiful pictures here to basically to demonstrate what we've just discussed. Here's a lovely volcano. Now, igneous rocks, as we've just discussed, they come from a volcano. So from the magma coming out of the volcano, sometimes the magma gets stuck in here, inside the earth. And this is when we get these little deposits around the magma, slow cooling large crystals. And these are called intrusive igneous rocks. The intrusive, the inside. Then, when the volcano explodes, like what's happening in Chile right now, and it comes down, and that's when we get our extrusive igneous rocks. So we've got the ash and the lava coming. Fast cooling, fine crystal size. Any questions so far? No? Wonderful. Metamorphic rocks. Not so much a pretty picture, I apologise, I couldn't find one. We've got surface rocks. We've got our rocks under the ground. When these rocks suffer pressure or heat, that is when they change. And that is when they become metamorphic. Okay, so that's a nice easy one. Yes?
Do you have to have pressure and heat together?
No.
Or can it be?
Great question, great question. It's not quite clear on my diagram. You can have either or both. You can also have chemical changes as well, which I have not demonstrated on my diagram. Yes?
So can that one rock where it would change with pressure, would it be a different rock if it was heat and pressure? Or is there just a set, like, does one rock always change to something?
Pretty much, yes. It depends on what the rock is and, yes, what is applied to it. We'll demonstrate the outcome. But we'll explore some different types later, and we'll have a think about how each of these different ones would be made when we do our exercise.
Okay.
Now, our sedimentary rocks. This one I thought was really interesting because they're all formed basically under the sea.
Are they?
So, if we want to think about, say, fossils at the moment, you know, all the new dinosaurs and bits and pieces that we've been finding, and this basically illustrates how they might be actually finding some of these rocks out in the desert because there used to be water there, and it gives them an idea over timelines how much these things can be formed. So over time, all of these rocks come down and got plant and animal material in some of these rocks. Over time, there's lots of pressure, and then they start to bond together, and that's how they form their rocks. Okay. Now let's think, what are the characteristics of rocks? Now I want you all to think through in your groups, and I'm going to write these up on the blackboard. Okay, so 2 or 3 minutes to think about what are some of the characteristics, and I'm going to write them up on the board. Have a think. What do you think a rock might look like? What do you think it might feel like?
Rough.
Rough.
Or smooth.
Yeah,
Sounds
great.
smooth.
It can be rough. It can be smooth. What else might I have on it? I've given you some clues already. If you think about it. Think about
it sinks.
It could float or sink. Yeah?
Colour.
Great. Colour. What was in this one?
Yeah.
Bubbles.
Bubbles.
Bubbles are there. Great. Is there anything else? If it had, say, if we had our volcanic rock ash coming out, our lava, and it cools really, really fast, or it cools really, really slow. How do you think we might find the difference in that? What do you think the difference is between this?
There.
What does this look like? Let's have a
Oh,
look.
really smooth.
Smooth?
Yeah.
Smooth?
Yeah.
Can we see anything in it? Is there anything there?
No.